Amara Johnson lived with her younger brother Kai and their grandmother in a small apartment on the outskirts of Chicago. Their home was modest, a two-bedroom unit with faded wallpaper and creaky floors in a neighborhood where everyone worked, hard just to get by. At just 12 years old, Amara had already experienced more hardship than most kids her age. Their grandmother, who they lovingly called Nana, had been their rock since their mother passed away 3 years ago. Nana worked as a hospital custodian, cleaning floors and emptying trash bins at all hours to keep food on the table. But lately, her persistent cough had gotten worse, forcing her to cut back on shifts. Amara would often find Nana sitting at the kitchen table, staring at bills with worry lines etched deep across her forehead. One chilly autumn morning, Amara woke up earlier than usual. The apartment was quiet except for the soft snoring coming from Kai's bed across their shared room. At 6 years old, Kai was a bundle of energy and imagination, always creating stories about superheroes and space adventures. But recently, he'd been more tired than usual. The doctor had explained that Kai had a calcium deficiency that required special attention to his diet, especially drinking milk regularly. Amara tiptoed to the kitchen, careful not to wake anyone. She opened the refrigerator and felt her heart sink. The shelves were nearly empty, just some leftover beans, half an onion, and a nearly expired carton of eggs. The milk was gone. Kai needed that milk. She quietly closed the refrigerator and leaned against the counter, thinking. Her eyes drifted to the small box tucked on the highest kitchen shelf, her treasure box. Inside were dozens of colorful beaded bracelets she had created over the past few months. Making jewelry was something her mother had taught her, sitting together on their small balcony during better times. "You have magic in your fingers," her mother used to say, as Amara carefully selected beads and threaded them into patterns. After her mother's passing, Amara kept making bracelets as a way to feel connected to her. It was like her mother's hands were guiding hers, helping her choose which colors went well together, teaching her new patterns. Through their apartment's thin walls, Amara heard Nana coughing again. The sound made her chest tighten with worry. She knew Nana had been skipping her own medication to make sure there was enough money for Kai's needs. Amara made a decision right then and there. She pulled a chair to the cabinet, carefully climbed up, and retrieved her treasure box. Inside were at least 20 bracelets, each one unique, some with geometric patterns, others with flowers or animals represented in tiny beads. When Nana finally emerged from her bedroom, still in her nightgown and looking tired despite a full night's sleep, Amara was sitting at the table with her box open. "What are you doing up so early, child?" Nana asked, her voice raspy. "I'm going to sell my bracelets," Amara declared with determination. "We need milk for Kai, and I know the bills are piling up." Nana's eyes softened. She came over and placed a weathered hand on Amara's shoulder. "You shouldn't have to worry about these things. I want to help," Amara insisted. "Mom always said we're stronger together." Tears welled in Nana's eyes as she nodded slowly. "Your mother would be so proud of the young lady you're becoming." After breakfast, just toast without butter, Amara got ready for school. Before leaving, she carefully packed 5 of her best bracelets into her backpack. Her plan was to try selling them to teachers or parents during pickup time. School that day seemed to drag on forever. During lunch, while other kids chatted and laughed, Amara approached Ms. Wilson, her favorite teacher. "These are beautiful," Ms. Wilson said, examining a bracelet with blue and green beads that reminded Amara of the ocean. "Did you make these yourself?" Amara nodded, explaining her situation in simple terms, that her brother needed milk and her grandmother was sick. Ms. Wilson bought 2 bracelets on the spot and suggested something that hadn't occurred to Amara. "You know, you could set up a little table at the bus stop near your building. Lots of people pass by there." The idea took root. After school, instead of going straight home, Amara stopped by the corner store where Mr. Patel, the owner, knew her family. She explained her plan, and he gave her a small cardboard box she could use as a display table. "You're a good sister," he told her, slipping a candy bar into her hand. "For energy." By 4 o'clock, Amara had set up her makeshift stand near the busy bus stop. She arranged her bracelets carefully on a clean cloth and made a sign with a marker she borrowed from school. Handmade bracelets, $5 each. The first hour was discouraging. People rushed past, barely glancing at her small display. Some looked at her with pity, but kept walking. Amara's fingers grew cold in the autumn air, but she stayed put. Finally, an elderly woman stopped. She had kind eyes that reminded Amara of Nana. "Did you make these yourself, dear?" she asked, picking up a bracelet with purple and silver beads. "Yes, ma'am," Amara replied. "My mom taught me before she went to heaven." The woman's expression softened. She bought the purple bracelet and a red one, too. "My granddaughter will love this," she said, carefully placing them in her purse. By the time the streetlights came on, Amara had sold 3 bracelets, enough to buy milk and some groceries. With cold fingers but a warm heart, she packed up her things and hurried to Mr. Patel's store. "Look at you, entrepreneur," he said cheerfully when she came in and showed him her earnings. Amara carefully selected a gallon of milk, some bread, bananas, and a small treat for Kai, his favorite, apple juice. The total came to just under what she'd earned. When she arrived home, Kai ran to her, his small face lighting up at the sight of the grocery bag. "Did you get chocolate milk?" he asked hopefully. "Even better," Amara replied, pulling out the regular milk and his apple juice. "And this is just for you." Kai's eyes widened with delight. Nana came into the kitchen, her face questioning when she saw the groceries. "Amara, where did you get money for all this?" Proudly, Amara explained about selling her bracelets. She expected Nana to be happy, but instead her grandmother's eyes filled with tears. "Oh, child," she whispered, pulling Amara into a tight hug. "You shouldn't have to do this." "I want to help," Amara said firmly, repeating her words from that morning. "And I'm good at making bracelets. Ms. Wilson says I could even have my own business someday." That night, after Kai had his milk and was tucked into bed, Amara stayed up late making more bracelets. She had a new purpose now, a way to contribute, to ease some of Nana's burden. As her fingers worked with the tiny beads, she felt her mother's presence stronger than ever. "I'm taking care of them, Mom," she whispered to the quiet room. "Just like you asked me to." Outside their apartment window, the city lights twinkled against the dark sky. Amara had no idea that her small act of love and responsibility would soon catch the attention of someone who would change their lives forever. But for now, she was content knowing that tomorrow, Kai would have his milk. And maybe, just maybe, Nana wouldn't look quite so worried when she thought no one was watching. The next morning, Amara woke with a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in months. Her fingers were slightly sore from all the beadwork the night before, but she smiled at the 5 new bracelets she'd completed. Each one unique, each one a small piece of hope. Kai was already up, sitting at their small kitchen table drinking his milk. His dark curls were wild from sleep, and he had a milk mustache that made Amara smile. "You look like a cartoon character," she teased, ruffling his hair as she passed by. "Are you going to sell more pretty things today?" Kai asked, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. "After school," Amara nodded. "Maybe I'll make enough for some chicken tonight." Nana appeared in the doorway, dressed in her blue hospital custodian uniform. She looked tired but determined. "I'm taking an extra shift today," she announced. "Mrs. Rivera next door will check on you both after school." Amara noticed how Nana's uniform hung looser than it had a few months ago. "Are you sure you're feeling okay, Nana?" "I'm fine, child, just need to keep moving." Nana's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "Now hurry up or you'll be late for school." Throughout the school day, Amara found it hard to concentrate. During art class, instead of working on the assigned project, she sketched new bracelet designs in her notebook. Her teacher, Ms. Wilson, noticed but didn't say anything. Instead, she quietly placed some extra-colored pencils on Amara's desk for "your designs," she whispered with a wink. After school, Amara rushed home, quickly did her homework, and prepared for another afternoon of selling. This time she packed a small folding chair that Nana sometimes used when her back was hurting, a bottle of water, and all the bracelets she had. Before leaving, she checked on Kai, who was happily coloring at Mrs. Rivera's apartment across the hall. "Don't forget we need milk again soon," he reminded her seriously. "I won't forget," she promised. Sometimes it amazed her how aware her little brother was of their situation despite being only 6. The bus stop was busier today, which gave Amara hope. She set up her little chair and arranged her bracelets carefully on the same cloth she'd used yesterday, weighing down the corners with small stones so the breeze wouldn't blow it away. She'd also made a better sign on a piece of cardboard. "Handmade bracelets, $5, help me buy milk for my brother." The first hour passed slowly. People hurried by, most not even glancing her way. A few gave sympathetic looks but kept walking. Amara tried not to feel discouraged. She knew most people were busy with their own problems. A woman in workout clothes jogged past, then doubled back. "Did you make these?" she asked, crouching down to examine a bracelet with alternating red and gold beads. "Yes, ma'am. My mom taught me before she passed away." The woman's face softened. "They're beautiful. I'll take 2. She paid with a $20 bill and refused change. "Buy something nice for your brother, too." As the afternoon wore on, more people stopped. An older man bought one for his granddaughter. A teenager picked one that matched her sneakers. By the time the streetlights flickered on, Amara had sold 8 bracelets, her best day yet. With her earnings tucked safely in her pocket, she packed up and headed to Mr. Patel's store. This time she bought milk, bread, eggs, some chicken pieces, and fresh vegetables. Mr. Patel nodded approvingly at her selections. "Business is good?" he asked as he rang up her items. "Getting better," Amara replied proudly. "I sold 8 today." Mr. Patel slipped an extra candy bar into her bag. "For the entrepreneur," he said with a smile. Over the next few weeks, Amara fell into a routine. School, homework, bracelet selling, then home to help with dinner. On rainy days, Mr. Patel let her set up inside his store near the entrance. Some days were better than others, but she always managed to sell at least a few bracelets. One particularly cold afternoon, Ms. Wilson stopped by Amara's stand on her way home. "I've been thinking about your business," she said, sitting on a nearby bench. "Have you considered selling online? My niece sells her artwork that way." Amara shook her head. "We don't have a computer at home, just Nana's old phone." Ms. Wilson thought for a moment. "What if you use the school computers during lunch break? I could help you set up a simple page." The next day, during lunch period, Amara followed Ms. Wilson to the computer lab. Instead of eating with her classmates, she learned how to create a social media account specifically for her bracelets. "We'll take pictures of your work, write descriptions, and people can message if they want to buy," Ms. Wilson explained. "I'll help you check messages after school." With Ms. Wilson's help, Amara photographed her entire collection and posted them with simple descriptions. "Handmade with love" became her tagline. "Now we wait," Ms. Wilson said, giving her a supportive squeeze on the shoulder. Amara continued her bus stop sales, but now she also checked the computer during lunch breaks. At first, there were no messages. Then 3 days later, someone wanted to buy 2 bracelets. "They can pay when they pick them up," Ms. Wilson suggested. "I'll help coordinate." Word began to spread. A local coffee shop owner who bought a bracelet asked if Amara would like to display some in her shop. A teacher from another grade ordered 5 as gifts. Amara's fingers worked tirelessly each night, creating new designs while Kai slept soundly across the room. Despite the growing success, Amara noticed Nana's health wasn't improving. The coughing fits lasted longer, and some nights she could hear her grandmother moving around the apartment, unable to sleep. More than once, Amara had found receipts for Kai's special vitamins, but none for Nana's own medication. One particularly difficult morning, Amara found Nana sitting at the kitchen table before dawn. Her breathing labored. "I need to see a doctor, child," Nana finally admitted. "But we need to save that money for Kai and the rent." Amara felt her chest tighten with worry. "We have money from my bracelets," she insisted, "and I'm selling more every day." Nana shook her head. "That's for emergencies and Kai's milk. I'll be fine. Just need some rest." But Amara could see it wasn't just tiredness. That day at school, she couldn't focus at all. During lunch, instead of checking her bracelet messages, she sat alone thinking she needed to sell more and faster. After school, she headed straight for her usual spot at the bus stop. But something felt different. The air felt heavy with the promise of rain, and fewer people were out. Amara set up anyway, arranging her, now substantial collection of bracelets. The first raindrops started falling after just 20 minutes. Amara quickly covered her bracelets with a plastic bag she'd brought just in case. She huddled under the bus shelter, wondering if she should pack up and go home. Then a sleek, black car pulled up near the curb. It was so shiny and new that it looked out of place in their neighborhood. The window rolled down, revealing a woman with elegant silver-streaked hair. She looked at Amara with curious eyes. "You'll catch cold out here," the woman said, her voice warm but commanding. "Are those your bracelets?" Amara nodded, raindrops sliding down her face. "Yes, ma'am." "May I see them?" Hesitantly, Amara approached the car, holding her plastic-covered display. The woman examined them thoughtfully through the clear plastic. "You're quite talented," she said. "How much are they?" $5 each, Amara replied, trying to sound professional despite being soaked. "I'll take all of them," the woman said simply. Amara blinked in surprise. "All of them? But there are 23 bracelets here." "I can count," the woman said with a slight smile. She reached into her purse and pulled out some bills. "Here's $200. That should cover them, with a bit extra for your determination. Standing in the rain to sell your work shows real commitment." Amara stared at the money, unable to believe what was happening. This was more than she'd made in all, the weeks combined. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the rain. The woman handed her a business card. "My name is Eleanor. I'd like to talk more about your bracelets, but not in this rain. Can you call this number tomorrow?" Before Amara could respond properly, a man in the driver's seat respectfully cleared his throat. "Ms. Reed, we're running." "Late for your meeting?" Eleanor nodded. "Tomorrow," she said to Amara. "Call me." As the car pulled away, Amara stood in the rain, clutching the money and card. She had no idea who Eleanor was or why she would spend so much on simple beaded bracelets. But one thing was certain. Nana would see a doctor tomorrow, whether she wanted to or not. With her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and uncertainty, Amara packed up her empty display and ran all the way home, splashing through puddles, the rain mingling with tears of relief on her face. Something told her that everything was about to change. Amara burst through the door of their apartment, dripping rainwater onto the worn welcome mat. Her chest heaved with exertion and excitement as she clutched the money tightly in her hand. "Nana! Kai!" she called out, her voice echoing through their small home. Kai appeared first, crayon in hand, his curious eyes growing wide at the sight of his soaking wet sister. "You look like you fell in a puddle," he giggled. Nana emerged from the kitchen, drying her hands on a dish towel, her face immediately creased with concern. "Child, what happened? You're soaked to the bone." She hurried to grab a clean towel from the hall closet. "Look." Amara held out the money, her hands trembling slightly. "Someone bought all my bracelets. All of them." Nana froze, staring at the stack of bills. "All of them? How much is that?" $200, Amara said, still hardly believing it herself. A lady in a fancy car stopped and bought every single one. Nana slowly lowered herself into the nearest chair, her hand covering her mouth. $200, she repeated softly. "Are you sure this is right? People don't just hand out money like that." "She said they were worth it," Amara insisted, taking the towel and drying her hair. "And she wants to talk more about them. She gave me her card and everything." She carefully placed Eleanor's slightly damp business card on the table. Nana picked it up, squinting at the elegant text. "Eleanor Reed, CEO," she read aloud. "Reed Technologies." She looked up at Amara with astonishment. "Do you know who this is?" Amara shook her head. "Is she famous?" "I've seen her in the newspapers. She owns one of the biggest tech companies in the country. They say she's worth billions." Nana's voice was hushed, as if saying it too loudly might make the card disappear. Kai, who had been quietly listening, piped up. "Does that mean we can get chocolate milk too? Not just regular?" Amara laughed. the tension breaking. Yes, we can. Get chocolate milk. And regular milk. And Nana's going to see a doctor tomorrow. Nana started to protest, but Amara cut her off. No arguments. I heard you coughing all night. We have money now, and your health is important. For once, Nana didn't argue. Instead, she pulled Amara into a tight hug, her thin frame shaking slightly. Your mother would be so proud of you, she whispered into Amara's damp hair. That evening, they had a proper dinner for the first time in months. Chicken with vegetables, and rice followed by ice cream that Amara had splurged on. As they ate, they talked about what to do with the money. We should save most of it, Nana said practically. But first, the doctor's visit and paying off the overdue electric bill. And chocolate milk? Kai reminded them seriously, making both Amara and Nana laugh. Later that night, after Kai had gone to bed, Amara sat at the kitchen table staring at Eleanor's business card. The rain continued to patter against the windows, creating a soothing rhythm that contrasted with her racing thoughts. What do you think she wants to talk about? She asked Nana, who was sipping hot tea for her cough. I don't know, child, but be careful. Sometimes when things seem too good to be true, they are. But what if it's real? What if she really likes my bracelets? Nana reached across the table and squeezed Amara's hand. Then you listen carefully to what she has to say, but remember, you don't have to agree to anything that doesn't feel right. The next morning, after seeing Kai off to school and making sure Nana had an appointment at the community health center, Amara asked to use Ms. Wilson's phone during lunch break. With trembling fingers, she dialed the number on Eleanor's card. Reed, Technologies, how may I direct your call? A professional voice answered. My name is Amara Johnson. Ms. Eleanor Reed asked me to call her. Her voice came out higher than normal, betraying her nervousness. One moment, please. There was a long pause, and Amara was sure she'd be told that Eleanor was too busy, or that yesterday had been some kind of mistake. Then a familiar warm voice came on the line. Amara, I'm glad you called. How are you doing today? I'm at school, Amara replied, not knowing what else to say. Using my teacher's phone. I see. Well, I'd like to meet with you to discuss your jewelry business. Would that be possible? Perhaps with your parent or guardian present? My grandmother takes care of me and my brother, Amara explained. She could come, but she's seeing the doctor today. I understand. How about tomorrow after school? I could send a car to bring you and your grandmother to my office downtown. Would 4:30 work? Amara agreed, her mind spinning with possibilities. After hanging up, she sat quietly in Ms. Wilson's classroom, trying to make sense of what was happening. Everything okay? Ms. Wilson asked gently. Amara nodded. I think so. That lady who bought all my bracelets, she wants to meet me at her office tomorrow. She's sending a car and everything. Ms. Wilson's eyebrows shot up. That's unexpected. Who is she? Eleanor Reed. She runs a tech company. Ms. Wilson's eyes widened with recognition. Eleanor Reed? Amara, do you know who she is? She's one of the most successful businesswomen in the country. They call her the compassionate CEO because she donates so much to charity. The rest of the school day passed in a blur. When Amara got home, she found Nana resting on the couch, looking exhausted but relieved. The doctor gave me antibiotics for my bronchitis, she explained, and a proper inhaler for my asthma. Said I came just in time. It was getting dangerous. Amara felt a wave of relief wash over her. Did you tell them we can pay? Nana nodded. They were surprised. Usually I'm asking about payment plans. She patted the spot next to her. Now tell me about that phone call. Amara explained about the meeting scheduled for tomorrow. As she spoke, she could see Nana's expression shifting between hope and caution. Downtown, Nana mused. I haven't been downtown in years. She's sending a car, Amara repeated. Ms. Wilson says she's famous for being nice and giving to charity. Still, we'll be careful, Nana said firmly. Rich people can be unpredictable. The next day crawled by at an agonizing pace. Amara couldn't focus on her lessons, her mind constantly drifting to what might happen at the meeting. When the final bell rang, She raced home to find Nana already dressed in her best outfit, a simple, navy blue dress she usually saved for church. "You look pretty, Nana," Amara said, quickly changing into her own nicest clothes, a white blouse and blue skirt that had once belonged to a cousin. They had arranged for Mrs. Rivera to watch Kai after school. At exactly 4:15, a sleek black car pulled up in front of their building, the same one from the bus stop. A driver in a neat uniform stepped out and opened the door for them. "Ms. Johnson and Mrs. Johnson, I'm here to take you to meet Ms. Reed." The ride downtown was silent, both Amara and Nana too nervous and overwhelmed to speak. They watched as their neighborhood of small shops and apartment buildings gave way to gleaming skyscrapers and busy streets filled with people in business suits. The car pulled up to one of the tallest buildings Amara had ever seen. The driver escorted them through a massive lobby with marble floors and past a security desk where they were given visitor badges, then up in an elevator that moved so smoothly and quickly that Amara's ears popped. When the doors opened on the 47th floor, they stepped into a reception area with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city. A friendly woman greeted them. "Ms. Reed is expecting you. Please follow me." They were led down a hallway lined with beautiful artwork to a large office with even more spectacular views. Eleanor Reed stood as they entered, coming around her desk to greet them. "Amara, it's lovely to see you again, and you must be her grandmother. Thank you both for coming." Nana, normally so composed, seemed slightly starstruck. "Thank you for inviting us, Ms. Reed. Please call me Eleanor. Have a seat." She gestured to a comfortable seating area near the windows. "Can I offer you something to drink? Water? Tea? Coffee?" Once they were settled with drinks, tea for Nana, juice for Amara, Eleanor got straight to the point. "Amara, I've been wearing your bracelets since yesterday. 3 different ones." She held up her wrist to show a blue and silver one that complemented her gray suit perfectly. "I've received 7 compliments. These are quality pieces." Amara felt her face flush with pride. "Thank you. I understand you're selling these to help support your family?" Eleanor asked gently. Nana stiffened slightly, her pride evident. "We manage." "Of course," Eleanor said respectfully, "but I recognize talent when I see it, and Amara has talent." She reached for a folder on the coffee table between them. "I've done some research since we met. You've been selling at a bus stop and online with help from your teacher. You've built quite a following already." Amara blinked in surprise. "You saw our page?" "I did. You have over 200 followers already. That's impressive for a business that started just a few weeks ago." Eleanor leaned forward slightly. "Amara, I'd like to make you a proposal. I want to invest in your business." Nana's grip on her teacup tightened. "What exactly does that mean?" Eleanor smiled. "It means I believe Amara's jewelry could be sold in stores across the country, maybe even internationally. I want to provide the resources to make that happen. Proper materials, business guidance, marketing, a real website. Everything a growing business needs." Amara's heart was pounding so hard she was sure everyone could hear it. "Why would you do that?" Eleanor's expression softened. "Because 25 years ago, I was selling hand-coded software at a flea market to help my single father pay our heating bill. Someone took a chance on me. Now I'd like to take a chance on you." She opened the folder to reveal what looked like a business plan. "This would be a real business, Amara's Treasures, with you as the designer and creative director. You'd earn a percentage of every sale, and I'd set up a trust for your education and your brother's." Nana looked overwhelmed. "This seems too good to be true?" Eleanor finished for her. "I understand your caution. Take this home, read it over. Have a lawyer look at it. I'll pay for that. This isn't charity, Mrs. Johnson. This is a business investment in a talented young entrepreneur." As Eleanor continued explaining the details, Amara gazed out at the city spread below them, hardly believing this was real. Just days ago, she'd been standing in the rain trying to sell enough bracelets to buy milk for Kai. Now she was sitting in a penthouse office, being offered a chance to turn her small idea into something much bigger. "What do you think, Amara?" Eleanor asked, bringing her attention back to the conversation. This would still be your creation, your vision. I'm just offering to help it grow. Amara looked at Nana, who gave her a subtle nod of encouragement. Then she turned the next few weeks past in a whirlwind of activity that transformed Amara's life in ways she could never have imagined. True to her word, Eleanor arranged for a respected lawyer, Mrs. Chen, to meet with Amara and Nana at their apartment to go over all the paperwork. I've been practicing law for 25 years, Mrs. Chen told them as she spread documents across their small kitchen table. And I've reviewed hundreds of business contracts. This is one of the fairest I've ever seen. She pointed to specific sections explaining everything in simple terms. 60% of profits go directly to Amara's trust fund for education and future business ventures. 20% goes to immediate family support. The remaining 20% is reinvested in the business. Nana, who had been suspicious at first, gradually relaxed as Mrs. Chen walked them through each page. And there are no hidden catches? She asked, adjusting her reading glasses. None that I can find, Mrs. Chen replied honestly. Ms. Reed is taking a chance on Amara's talent, but she's not asking for anything unreasonable in return. After carefully reviewing everything and discussing it privately, Nana finally nodded to Amara. If this is what you want to do, I support you. With hands that trembled slightly, Amara signed her name on the documents, officially launching Amara's Treasures as a real business. The following Saturday, a team arrived at their apartment. Eleanor had asked permission to film Amara's creative process for the company website, and Nana had reluctantly agreed after multiple assurances that Kai's face would be blurred and their address kept private. Just act natural, the photographer said as Amara sat cross-legged on her bed, her bead collection spread around her. Pretend we're not even here. It was strange at first having strangers watch her work, but soon Amara fell into the familiar rhythm of selecting beads and threading them onto strong, flexible wire, much better quality than the string she'd been using before. The photographer captured close-ups of her fingers working deftly with the tiny beads, occasionally asking her to explain her process. I like to think about the person who might wear it, Amara explained, holding up a nearly finished bracelet with amber and turquoise beads. This one feels warm and peaceful, like someone who likes to sit by the ocean. That's beautiful, the photographer murmured. Keep talking like that. Meanwhile, in another part of the apartment, Eleanor sat with Nana, discussing the changes that would be happening. The first order of business is your health, Eleanor said firmly. I've arranged for you to see a specialist next week. I can't accept charity, Nana said, her pride evident in the straightening of her shoulders. It's not charity, Eleanor replied gently. It's an investment in Amara's support system. She needs you healthy. She placed a hand on Nana's arm. Please let us help. Reluctantly, Nana agreed. The bronchitis medication had helped, but she still tired easily, and the persistent cough hadn't fully disappeared. After the filming was complete, Eleanor sat down with the whole family, including Kai, who was quietly drawing at the coffee table. We need to discuss your living situation, she began carefully. This apartment is our home, Nana finished, a note of defensiveness in her voice. Eleanor nodded respectfully. Of course. But the building has many issues. The elevator breaks down frequently, there's evidence of water damage on your ceiling, and the heating is unreliable. She looked at Kai, who was coloring intensely, pretending not to listen. I found a 3-bedroom apartment in a building about 10 blocks from here. It's in the same school district, so the children wouldn't need to change schools, but it has reliable heat, working elevators, and better security. Amara watched Nana's face, seeing the conflict there, pride warring with practicality. The rent, Nana began, would be covered as part of the family support portion of Amara's business plan, Eleanor explained. It's not a handout, Mrs. Johnson. It's making sure that a promising young businesswoman has the stable environment she needs to thrive. 2 days later, they visited the new apartment. It wasn't extravagant or fancy. Eleanor had been careful about that, but it was clean, well-maintained, and much more spacious than their current home. Kai ran from room to room, his eyes wide with excitement. "I get my own room?" he asked, spinning around in what would be his bedroom. "Your very own," Eleanor confirmed, smiling at his joy. Amara stood in the center of what would be her bedroom, hardly able to believe it. A space just for her, with a desk by the window, where she could work on her bracelets and do her homework. "What do you think?" Eleanor asked, joining her by the window, which overlooked a small park with actual trees and a playground. "It's perfect," Amara whispered. "But why are you doing all this?" "My bracelets aren't that special." Eleanor's expression grew serious. "Yes, they are. But more importantly, you are special, Amara. Do you know what I saw that rainy day at the bus stop? I saw determination, creativity, responsibility. Those qualities are rare, especially in someone so young." She paused, looking out at the park. "When I was about your age, my father got very sick. We had no other family, and I started coding simple games and selling them to try to help with bills. Most people ignored me, but one person, my father's doctor, saw potential in what I was doing. He invested in me, mentored me. That investment changed my life." "So this is like paying it forward?" Amara asked. Eleanor smiled. "Exactly. The move happened the following weekend. It was strange saying goodbye to the only home Amara could clearly remember. But the excitement of the new apartment made it easier. Eleanor had arranged for furniture to be delivered. Simple but good quality pieces that would last. Kai's bedroom had a proper desk for his homework and a bookshelf filled with books about space and dinosaurs, his two favorite subjects. Amara's room had a custom-built workspace for her jewelry making, with proper lighting and storage for all her beads and tools. But the biggest surprise came after they were settled in. Eleanor arrived one evening with a small wrapped package. "This is for you," she said, handing it to Amara. "Every CEO needs the right tools." Inside was a brand new tablet. "It's connected to the internet," Eleanor explained. "No more using school computers during lunch. You can update your website, respond to customers, and learn new techniques. All from home." Amara stared at the sleek device in disbelief. "I can't accept this. It's too much." "It's a business expense," Eleanor insisted with a smile, "and completely necessary." That night, after everyone had gone to bed, Amara sat on her new window seat looking out at the city lights. She opened the tablet and was surprised to find a video message waiting for her. It was Eleanor. "Amara, I wanted to explain something. Important," the recorded message began. "Success isn't just about hard work or talent, though you have both in abundance. It's also about opportunity. Not everyone gets the same opportunities in life, and that's not fair. What I'm trying to do is level the playing field a bit. You've already proven what you can do with limited resources. Now I want to see what you can accomplish with the right support." Tears welled in Amara's eyes as she continued watching. "Tomorrow we launch your website officially. The photographer captured beautiful images of your work. The marketing team has created social media accounts. But the heart of this business is still you, your creativity, your story, your vision. Never forget that." The next day, Amara sat with Eleanor in the Reed Technologies conference room, surrounded by marketing experts and web designers. A large screen, they displayed the new website for Amara's treasures. It was beautiful, professional, but still capturing the personal touch that made her bracelet special. "We've already received pre-orders," one of the team members announced. 43 bracelets ordered in the first hour." Amara's eyes widened. 43? But I can't make that many so quickly." Eleanor squeezed her shoulder reassuringly. "That's our next step. I've reached out to a women's cooperative that specializes in handcrafted jewelry. They can help with production, following your designs exactly. You'll train them, oversee quality, and continue creating new designs." "Like a real designer," Amara whispered. "Exactly like a real designer," Eleanor confirmed, "because that's what you are now." Over the next few weeks, Amara balanced school with her new role as a business owner. 3 afternoons a week, she visited the workshop where 5 women from the cooperative were creating bracelets based on her designs. At first, she was shy about telling adults what to do, but they respected her eye for detail and her creative vision. "You have a gift," Lena, the cooperative's leader, told her. "These designs tell stories." At school, things had changed too. Word had spread about Amara's business, and suddenly classmates who had barely noticed her before wanted to sit with her at lunch or partner with her on projects. Ms. Wilson made sure no one bothered her too much. "Remember who your real friends were before all this happened," she advised wisely. 1 month after signing the contract, Amara sat in Eleanor's office for their weekly meeting. Eleanor pulled up the sales figures on her computer. 327 bracelets sold in 4 weeks, she announced proudly. "That's extraordinary for a brand new business." Amara couldn't help but smile. "And people really like them?" "They love them. Look at the reviews." Eleanor turned the screen so Amara could see the comments from customers. "The craftsmanship is exquisite. Wearing this bracelet makes me happy every time I look at it. Knowing this business was started by a young girl trying to help her family makes these pieces even more special." Eleanor handed Amara an envelope. "Here's the financial report for the month. Your first official profit statement." With slightly trembling hands, Amara opened it. The numbers made her dizzy. This was more money than she had ever imagined having. "Is this real?" she asked softly. "Very real," Eleanor confirmed. "And it's just the beginning." As she left Eleanor's office that day, Amara thought about how much had changed in such a short time. Nana was getting proper medical care and already looking healthier. Kai had joined a science club at school that they couldn't have afforded before. Their refrigerator was always full now, not just with milk but with fresh vegetables, fruits, and yes, Kai's beloved chocolate milk. But the biggest change was in how Amara saw herself. No longer just a girl trying to help her family survive. She was now a business owner, a designer, someone with a future full of possibilities. All because she had refused to give up, even on a rainy day at a bus stop. As the elevator descended from Eleanor's penthouse office, Amara closed her eyes and whispered a thank you to her mother wherever she was. "I'm still taking care of them, Mom," she murmured, "just in a way I never expected." Ed to Eleanor with determination in her eyes. 6 months had passed since the rainy day at the bus stop, when Amara's life changed forever. The morning sunlight streamed through her bedroom window, casting warm patterns across her desk where dozens of colorful beads were organized in small glass containers. She sat with a sketchbook open, designing a new summer collection while occasionally glancing at the framed photo beside her. The first official picture of Amara's treasures, showing her and the 5 women from the cooperative who helped bring her designs to life. The apartment was peaceful this Saturday morning. Nana was in the kitchen making breakfast. The rich scent of cinnamon pancakes filled the air. Since starting the proper medication and treatment for her respiratory issues, Nana had regained her energy and joy for cooking. Kai was sprawled on the living room floor with his science project, something about solar systems that he'd been working on all week. Amara's tablet pinged with a notification. It was from Diana, the marketing manager Eleanor had hired for her business. "Great news. Style magazine wants to feature your Ocean Dreams collection in their summer issue. Can you come to the office Monday after school to discuss?" 6 months. Ego Amara would have jumped up and down with excitement at such news. Now she smiled quietly, feeling a different kind of happiness, one built on confidence rather than surprise. Being featured in magazines was becoming a regular occurrence for Amara's treasures. Last month it was Teen Vogue. Before that, a popular fashion blog had called her bracelets the must-have accessory of the season. "Breakfast is ready," Nana called from the kitchen. Amara closed her sketchbook and headed to the dining area, where Kai was already seated, his hair sticking up in all directions despite Nana's attempts to tame it. "We're learning about black holes on Monday," he announced through a mouthful of pancake. At 7 years old now, his fascination with space had only grown stronger. "Ms. Parker says they can swallow entire stars." "Chew first, talk later," Nana reminded him gently, setting a plate in front of Amara. "Any plans today, entrepreneur?" Amara smiled at the nickname Nana had taken to using. "Eleanor's coming to pick me up at 10. We're visiting a bead supplier who imports from around the world. More tiny beads to find their way into our carpet," Nana teased, but her eyes shone with pride. The doorbell rang precisely at 10 o'clock. Eleanor was always punctual. When Amara opened the door, she found Eleanor dressed casually in jeans and a simple blouse, quite different from her usual business suits. And she wasn't alone. A tall man with kind eyes stood beside her. "Good morning, Amara," Eleanor greeted her warmly. "This is Dr. Robert Thomas. He's the person I told you about, the one who helped me when I was starting out." Dr. Thomas extended his hand, which Amara shook politely. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Amara. Eleanor speaks very highly of you." Nana appeared behind Amara, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "Please come in. I've just made fresh coffee." Over coffee, juice for Amara, Dr. Thomas shared stories about meeting a teenage Eleanor at a community market where she was selling simple computer programs she'd coded herself. She had taped a sign to a card table that read, "Custom Software Solutions, $20. "I remember thinking it was the most ambitious thing I'd ever seen," he recalled with a warm laugh. "But when I saw what she could do with a basic computer, I knew she was special." "Dr. Thomas invested $5,000 in my first real business," Eleanor explained. "Back then, that was a fortune to me." "Best investment I ever made," Dr. Thomas said with a wink. "Both financially and personally, watching someone grow into their potential is its own reward." Eleanor turned to Amara. "Which brings me to why Dr. Thomas is joining us today. We have something important to discuss with you." Amara felt a flutter of nervousness. "Is something wrong with the business?" "Quite the opposite," Eleanor assured her. "Amara's Treasures has been more successful than any of us predicted. Your designs are unique, meaningful, and people connect with them." She opened her tablet and showed Amara the latest sales figures. The numbers were staggering. Over 20,000 bracelets sold in 6 months, with orders now coming from stores in 12 countries. "The cooperative can't keep up with demand anymore," Eleanor explained. "We need to expand." Dr. Thomas leaned forward. "Eleanor and I have been discussing the next step for your business. We want to establish a proper workshop here in the city, employing people from communities that need economic opportunities." "Like a real factory?" Amara asked, trying to picture it. "More like an artisan studio," Eleanor corrected. "Still handmade, still following your designs exactly, but with more people trained in your techniques. And here's the important part. We want to focus on hiring single parents and caregivers who need flexible hours." Amara thought about that for a moment. "People like Nana?" "Exactly," Dr. Thomas nodded. "People who have skills and want to work but need schedules that accommodate their family responsibilities." Nana, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. "That's thoughtful." Eleanor smiled at her. "It's also good business. People with family responsibilities tend to be incredibly efficient with their time, and they bring heart to their work." "There's something else," Dr. Thomas added. "Eleanor and I want to establish the Amara Johnson Foundation, using a percentage of profits from your business to fund educational opportunities for children from similar backgrounds." Amara blinked, sure she had misheard. "A foundation? With my name?" Eleanor nodded. "You started all this because you wanted to buy milk for your brother. That kind of responsibility and love shouldn't fall on a child's shoulders, but the creativity and determination you showed deserve to be celebrated and supported." Tears welled in Amara's eyes, and she felt Nana's hand on her shoulder, steady and reassuring. "The foundation would provide scholarships, after-school programs, and business education for kids with big ideas," Dr. Thomas explained. "We'd start here in the city but eventually expand nationwide." "I don't know what to say," Amara whispered. "You don't have to say anything right now," Eleanor assured her. "Think about it. Talk it over with your grandmother." Later that day, after visiting the bead supplier, where Amara selected beautiful new materials from Thailand, Mexico, and Kenya, Eleanor took her to see the space they were considering for the new workshop. It was a bright, airy building that had once been a textile factory. Large windows let in plenty of natural light, perfect for detailed beadwork. "We could fit 20 workstations here," Eleanor explained as they walked through the empty space. "Childcare facilities in the back room. A design studio upstairs for you." "For me?" Amara stopped walking. You're getting older, Amara. Soon you'll want more independence. This could be your creative space and somewhere between school and home where you can focus on designing, train new artisans, host workshops. Amara tried to imagine it, having her own studio at 12 years old. It seemed impossible, yet here she was, walking through the potential space with one of the most successful businesswomen in the country. What if I make mistakes? She asked quietly, voicing the fear that sometimes kept her awake at night. What if people stop liking my designs? Eleanor placed her hands on Amara's shoulders, looking directly into her eyes. You will make mistakes. Everyone does, that's how we learn. As for people's tastes, they change. That's why you'll keep creating, keep evolving. The core of what makes your work special isn't just the patterns or colors. It's the heart behind them. On the drive home, Amara was quieter than usual, processing everything she'd learned about the foundation and the new workshop. Eleanor respected her silence, understanding that big changes required reflection. When they pulled up in front of her building, Eleanor handed Amara a small gift bag. A little something to mark 6 months of our partnership. Inside was a velvet jewelry box. When Amara opened it, she found not a bracelet, but a delicate necklace with a single charm, a tiny silver ladder. It's beautiful, Amara said, touching it gently. But why a ladder? Because that's what we're building together, Eleanor explained. A ladder that starts with one person helping another, who then helps others, and so on. Your business isn't just about jewelry anymore, Amara. It's about creating opportunities, just like the one you received. That evening, after dinner, Amara sat with Nana and Kai in their living room, the necklace around her neck as she told them about the foundation idea. So other kids would get money for school because of me? Kai asked, trying to understand. Not because of just me, Amara corrected.